Welcome to the Army Empire Podcast, your go-to podcast for insightful tips on investment strategies, entrepreneurship, and all things money matters. Join Bernard Alerte, your guide on this journey to financial freedom. Each episode will dive into expert advice, practical strategies, and inspiring stories to help you take control of your financial future. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or a seasoned investor, we've got something for everyone. So get ready to unlock your financial potential and make your money work for you. And now, let's welcome your host, Bernard Alerte.
Welcome.
Hey, good evening, Liz. How you doing?
Good evening. We are back.
Excited to be here.
Yes. Hello. I see folks already jumping on. Lesenia, T is on. Alistair's on. We need this so badly. Listen, I had a conversation with someone just a few minutes ago, one of my girlfriends, and I was talking to her about you last week. Told her to follow the YouTube channel, and she's been watching every episode. She's like, I'm on episode 5. I'm on episode 7.
Wow, cool.
And just the notes, she's like, I've been taking notes. Like I have my file on my phone, and as I'm watching, I'm taking notes on my phone. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like the things that are being taught. So just wanted to share that with you, that there are folks that are watching even the replay later, and they're really taking this on as if they're getting classes, which is crazy.
Yes, absolutely. And that's one thing we wanted. That's the one purpose we want to have the podcast. It's just to give people value, give people knowledge, just to share with them things that they need to do that makes a major difference in their lives. Things that I didn't know a lot when I was younger. And I wish someone would have told me, shared with me, and it would have made such a huge difference. So I just want to out there and share with people the right information so they can actually learn and grow from.
Yeah, for sure. So whether you're watching on Facebook or whether you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and share, like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. We're going to get into an amazing session yet again, where our financial coach is going to be hooking us up with some very important information. And at the very end, as usual, we will have a Q&A. So we will have a Q&A for the last 5 minutes of the podcast. So have your questions ready for Bernard, and he's going to answer them for us. Yes?
Absolutely. Definitely will.
So let's do this. What are we talking about today?
It's crazy because I think last week we talked about debt, how bad debt is, ways to get out of debt, the mindset when it comes to debt. But also another side effect of debt is like, it's your credit score, things that people ask me all the time. How's my credit score? Does that make a huge difference? So we want to give like a preview, like a brief, like, I guess, education on credit score, what it does, ways to kind of improve it. And again, a disclosure, I'm not a credit counselor. That's not what we do, but we just want to give knowledge because it affects people in so many ways, because think about it, and we're going to go into it in a little bit, which is the next slide is.
Yes, here we go.
Absolutely. What about my credit score? How does that work? How do I improve that? So we're going to go over a couple of things, what a credit score, mistakes people make credit scores, and a way to improve it to make a huge difference. Think about, you got to avoid some of these credit mistakes. Like, for example, not valuing your credit. Your credit is very, very important. Okay. And we're going to share with you exactly how it impacts you in so many ways. Maxing out credit cards is not good. Mistakes that people make. Third thing, not monitoring your credit score. You need to at least monitor on a regular basis. At least you don't have to. Some people are very upset to do it every day. Don't do it every day, but at least every couple of weeks or once a month, you kind of monitor your credit score. Make sure it's improving, or make sure there's nothing there that can make a huge difference. Number 4, knowing your interest rates and fees. Knowing interest rates. A lot of people, they don't even know how much they're paying in interest rates. If you ask how much you're paying on that card, they don't even know. So they know they're paying a lot, but then it might be 20, 25%, right? And that makes a huge difference over a period of time, because we always talked about the compounding interest, how it's working against you. So you have to be aware how much interest you're paying on cards, right? Yeah. And number 5, and not being aware of your total debt. If you ask well, how much debt you have, very few people aware. Of the worst, they don't want to know. Like, I don't want to know. Don't. I don't want. You have to know how much debt you owe. You have to know. Not knowing is not going to make it go away. It's like even health wise, you have to know, you have to go get checkups every once in a while. Not knowing what's wrong with you physically could make it not a good result in the long run. So you have to know how much total debt you have.
I like this. I'm going to open this up so you can screenshot
Yes.
this. We want them to screenshot this. So let me put this up for them.
Exactly.
Go ahead and screenshot this. This is so important. Not valuing your credit, maxing out your credit cards, not monitoring your credit score, and not knowing what your interest rates and fees are. And of course, not being aware of what the heck your
Yes.
debt is to begin with. So go ahead and screenshot that, because gosh, that is so important. Hi,
Absolutely.
we have somebody watching. Hi, Liz and Bernard. Glad I caught alive. Yes, Lisa. Hi, Mika. Hi, Mika. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us tonight. So yes, these are we're going to avoid these common mistakes. I usually monitor my credit score once a month. So I guess I'm doing that right.
That's good. Once a month is good. You don't have, some people do it every day, but you don't have to do it every day. Just once a month is fine.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
Let's look. It's kind of small, right? So if you think about what your credit score, and I'm gonna try to read, because as I'm getting older, my eyesight's going away. But I'm like fighting it like crazy, but sometimes it's hard to see. And I'm just gonna read it with you guys. What is actually a credit score? A credit score, pretty much, right, is a number calculated, right, based on the information on your credit report. It helps predict how likely you are to repay a loan, right, and make the payments when they're due. You'll see lots of different scoring systems, but most lenders use something called a FICO score, right? What's your FICO score, right? And to calculate your credit score, the companies first pull information like how much money you owe. For example, whether you paid on time or late, how long you've had credit, right? How much credit do you have, and whether you asked for new credit recently. Okay. So those are the things that affect your credit score, right? And who cares? But because why should I care about my credit score? Let me tell you why you should care about your credit score. Lenders, landlords, insurance companies, potential employers are a few who might look at your credit history, and your credit history can make a difference when you, for example, when you apply for a loan or card. That can make a huge difference on your credit score, right? Sometimes it could be like a couple $100 a month. Right, that makes a huge difference. Sometimes $1,000 a month, depending how big the purchase is. It makes a huge difference. So it's so important to actually know what your credit score is. And the reason I share that with a lot of our clients, because think about it. If your credit score is low, you end up paying more for things like debt. And what happens is, in a process, that takes away from how much you have to put away for things that are important, like your retirement. For example, emergency savings, protection, things that are important for you. So it's very important for us to find that out, right? Also, look for a job. Yes. A lot of employers sometimes look at your credit score to determine whether to hire you. I'm telling you, it's happening. A lot of employers do it, especially in certain fields, right? And I'll give you an example. If there's two candidates applying for a job, and one has, you could have all the qualifications, right? All the qualification as far as experience, everything. And you have one applicant that has a pretty good credit score, and another applicant that may not have the best credit score. And it couldn't be of no fault of their own. It's not because they're responsible, just things that happen, things that they forgot or something. See, guess what? They're gonna hire the one that has the best credit score. Why? Because in their mind, they figure if someone has a good credit score, that means they are responsible. That means they handle their finances responsibly, and that means they're gonna be responsible at work. They're not gonna have issues.
Wow.
And it's sad. We shouldn't be judged on that, but that's a reality that's happening out there, which is so important. For example, to rent an apartment, lease an apartment, they look at your credit score, right? And that's so important for you to make sure. Because, for example, I'll give you an example. We had someone, right? The credit score wasn't that great, but they had money. They were willing to go to landlord and say, I'm gonna pay for the whole year. I want to pay for the whole year. My credit score not good, but I have the cash to pay. And they said, no, your credit score is not good. Even though I'm telling you,
he had cash money.
Said, I'm willing to pay for the whole year. They said, no, we can't accept your credit score. It's not where it needs to be for it. And it's sad, but it's a reality that happens. So it's very important to make sure that makes a huge difference, right? To buy or lease a car, right? Those are things that affect right? Your credit score. For example, to get a rental, even homeowners insurance, rental insurance, that affects that. Even utilities sometimes it affects. So all these different factors make a huge difference, you know. And the
So
three credit, yes,
the lower your credit score is, the more you're paying for things.
you're gonna pay for things. It'll cost you, yes. The lower your credit score, the more you're gonna pay for things, and because also you get take advantage of so many times because they might have the wrong lenders, for example. That makes a huge difference. You know, yeah, border patrol. There's so many people. Yes, a lot of industries out there, a lot of companies. They actually look at your credit score. It's so important. Now, the three agencies that we have is Equifax, right? Experian and TransUnion. Right, that happens. So those are three factors that you have to monitor on a regular basis. That makes a huge difference, you know.
All right, we got our paper and our pens out. We're taking notes here. All right, so moving on.
Let's look at the next one. Okay, now what are some of the tips, Bernard, that's important for us to kind of use? And there's a lot of tips here, and I'm trying to go as much as possible. Number one is don't close accounts. Don't close accounts. Oldest accounts is very important. The older account you have makes a huge difference because the longer you have an account, because here's what happens to a lot of people, right? Mistake that people have made. I've made that in the past myself. You had an account, a credit card, say, I don't want to use a credit card. So guess what I'm going to do? I don't want to be into debt, and I close the account. And guess what happened? As soon as you close the account, boom, credit score dropped. Why? Because I had an older account, and guess what happens? There's two things there's two challenges that I had because I did that. When I did that, number one, it was an older account, right? And I didn't want to get into debt again, but I closed it. That's one factor. So I got a ding because of that, number one. And second thing, my available credit also decreased.
Right.
So all these factors. So if you have if you have accounts out there that maybe credit cards you're not using, here's what you should do. Use it as a charge card, use it and pay it back. Use it and pay it back. Find the cards, use it, and just pay the balance right back. Okay. But you have to keep it open because it affects your credit score. Don't close accounts. If you don't close accounts, that's the worst thing you can do is to close accounts, right? Again, absolutely. We all know it. Absolutely no late payments. This will drop your score drastically. It will take forever to come off. It takes sometimes 2 years, a couple of years to come off. I always tell someone, listen, to improve your credit, you have to take the stairs. But when your credit goes down, that's the elevator. You understand? It's a lot faster. So for it to go down, you could do 100 things right, and you do 100, and one thing you do wrong, boom, you get affected. You get affected. So that's so important to make sure that you have to be very vigilant. That happens sometimes it's unavoidable, but you have to do whatever you have to do to make sure that you don't have any late payments because it's very hard to come off, right? See, when you start building your credit, right, 2 cards, you wait for the score. Let's say if you have a lower score, you wait for it to go up to, let's say, 620 to apply for another one, okay? And a lot of times is when you apply, because you need access to credit. It's just a reality. I mean, it's just a fact because people judge you. They judge you on that. So you have to make sure that you have access to credit, right? Don't apply for too many cards, right? That'll bring out credit score. So when you're applying, the more you're applying, the more like I'm applying this, trying to get this, trying to get that, the more you're applying for a short period of time, it looks bad. You're going to take a hit. Okay. So you don't want to do that. Well, people ask me all the time, what if I'm shopping for a car or something like that? Number one, what should I do? Number one, don't go out there. If you're shopping for a car, one of the biggest mistakes that people make, you go to a deal, you haven't put your credit over and over again, every dealer. Research the car you want. Shop for the money first. Shop for the money first. Get the car you want. Get the amount you want. Get the car that you want. Shop for the money first if you're going to finance a car. And also then you go to the deal already. Because otherwise, if the deal doesn't make a good deal, they have to go next one. Next one is going to take a hit. But the good part about that also, but if you're buying something, right? And if you're doing for like a short period of time, let's say you might apply for a mortgage, they kind of give you a break. Right? It does become like a hard pull. Why? Because they know you're buying something. They know people have to shop for the best rates possible. So they give you a pass with that. Right? But you have to make sure you don't keep applying over and over because that hurts your credit score.
Yeah. This is a good tip right here. Put it like a Netflix subscription, for example.
Yes,
you
absolutely.
That on a card you don't really use, and then do the auto pay through the bank.
Exactly.
That's a really good tip. That's
Exactly.
Hulu, Netflix,
Yes, all the ones that people have, right? They have like 35 subscriptions, right? So that's not good. That's another show, but that's important for people to have that. So just put in a different cards and just have it automatically paid at the end of the month, automatically drafted, right? And also remember, lenders see activity in your credit, so you have to be responsible. So small recurring payments direct from bank account automatically. That's so important to have, right? And they want to see. You have to have activity. You have to have activity in your credit. You can't have a card you don't use it for, because guess what happens? If you have a card that you don't use for a long period of time, guess what happens? The bank's gonna close the card. They haven't used the card in a while, so they'll close the card, or they'll lower it and they close the card. And guess what happened? That affects your credit, and they lower the amount of available credit, which is even worse. Okay, at the same time, so you have to make sure that you keep the cards active, keep trying to use them. It's a lot of juggling, right? But you have to kind of keep it active, right? And also, it's so important that you have to keep your credit card balances under 30% of the limits all the time, because once it goes over 30%, it affects your credit score. Let's say, for example, you have $1,000, like the balance $1,000, right? That's available credit. You have to make sure your balance always 300 and under. 300 and under all the time, because when it goes over that, boom, it affects your credit score. Okay, so you have to keep that down. Also, use the debt stacking. But how do I get out of debt, Bernard? Well, last month, go back and see last week's episode. We used the debt stacking, how to take the debts and kind of knock it off, right? If you start using that, that'll make a big difference also in getting rid of debts as much as possible, fast, right? And that's why we mentioned last week, don't get lured into using cards for incentive perks unless you plan on paying the whole balance all the time. There's a lot of cards out there. They have really great perks. They have like Amex has, and like there's a couple cards out there. They have traveling perks and things like that. And a lot of people get caught up into that because they end up what? Oh man, I'm gonna get this because I'm gonna get free concierge service. I'm gonna have this. I'm gonna have that. And what happens is you fall in the trap and applying for a lot of these cards, and guess what happens? Right? You have to pay it back. It only makes sense if you can pay the whole card back, the whole balance at the end of the month. If you don't, guess what happens? It defeats the whole purpose.
Right.
It defeats the whole purpose. So we have to be very careful with that, which is so important, right? And check your score and check your credit score app. I think Credit Karma is one of them. Check your credit score app on a monthly basis. That's so important, right? And also, if you have too many bills, try to use bill pay with your bank. Try to set it up, because we forget sometimes. I mean, I remember there was times, listen, I was running, and thank God for my Wi-Fi, right? Because I was running I'm running my business, and I'm running all these different things. So I'm taking care of the business, all these different. Sometimes I forgot them a couple of years ago. I forgot certain little bills. I forgot, right? That, oh my gosh, and I didn't pay attention to that, and I got hurt because of that. So guess what happened? So I said, you know what? Let's put everything on automatic. Right, so I don't have to think about it, and it makes a huge difference, right? And also, in the last part, debts and collection, you can negotiate debts and collection. If someone has collections and a debt, you can negotiate that. You can negotiate for pennies on a dollar a lot of times, right? See a lot of, let's say if you owe, you can call them and just listen, negotiate. You want to negotiate an amount, and they'll lower, and it'll come off, and it comes off right away. So I mean, it seems like a lot at the same time, but it makes it's little things that we have to pay attention, and that makes a huge difference for us,
Well, this is great stuff.
Absolutely. And the mindset we want to have, right? The mindset is so important. And I talk a lot about the credit, but we have to change our money consciousness. Our beliefs about money makes a huge difference in anything that we do, right? Yeah. And I learned that, the hard way, but it's so important. There's three kind of different beliefs when it comes to money, because how you see money, how you and I see money, Liz, determines how much money we make, how much we have left, how our money grows, and all aspects of money. Just like they always tell you, if you wanted to kind of lose weight, get in shape, you have to have a different relationship with food.
Correct.
You have to have a different relationship with food if you want to what? Lose weight. That's one thing. The first thing they teach you, like for example, there's a lot of people, they might see food. Listen, what's the purpose of food? is to eat, to get full. So if that's your belief when it comes to food, guess what's going to happen? You're going to eat to what? To get full. When you get hungry, I have to get full, right? Or for example, say I need to satisfy my hunger. Guess what happens? You're going to find the closest thing that you can eat to satisfy the hunger. It may not be the best thing for you. It might be bread, something that's supposed to eat, right? Versus, for example, if someone that's like that's food conscious, they say food as fuel. The purpose of food is to fuel my body. So they're only going to use food for that purpose. I don't have to get full. I just have to be satisfied enough to fuel my body. And that makes a huge difference. And let me show you how it makes a difference. There's three kinds of mindset when it comes to money. There's a poor mindset, unfortunately. There's a middle class mindset and a wealthy mindset. What's a poor mindset? If you ask someone poor, what is the purpose of money? They'll say the purpose of money is to what? Pay bills.
Right.
The purpose of money is pay bills. So their mindset, they're going to work for 20, 40 hours. And they're going to what? They're going to get paid. And as soon as they get paid, they're going to take that money and give it to somebody else.
Yep.
So their whole purpose, so they're going to spend 40, 50 hours a week to what? To take the money that they make to pay someone else. Take it and pay. And because I have that mindset, guess what? They'll never make any more money than to pay the bills. Because that's their what? Money consciousness, right? So they should, instead of calling payday, they should call it transfer day. Because as soon as they get money, they have to transfer to somebody else. You're transferring. So don't call it payday, call it transfer day, right? And because of that, they get stuck and they want to get better. They don't know how they're gonna get better, but their mindset is so they see money as what? I gotta pay bills. I have to make money to pay bills.
Yeah.
And they never make any more money than that.
That's the way the poor think.
Yeah.
Their relationship with money.
Yes. And poor is not an income level. You can make 100,000 and be poor. You can make a six-figure and be poor. It doesn't, right? And guess what? And if you think about the acronym of poor, right? It's POOR. All it does is passing over opportunities repeatedly. Pass over opportunities repeatedly, right? And that's why a lot of us sometimes become poor, because we're passing over opportunities to change the way we think, to change the way we process things when it comes to money.
He said that. Yep. Here it is. Here it is. We're preaching. Transfer day. Man, so true. You're preaching.
Yes. I mean, I had to learn the hard way, because a lot of times I feel like, my gosh, I want to grow my income. So one thing that's important, how do you kind of fix that? What's the mindset to fix that? Number one, I learned something very powerful. Seldom will I make as much, and never will I make the amount of money I allow myself to think is a lot of money. If you think if you feel 100,000 six-figure income is a lot of money, guess what happens? You'll never make as much. You'll never make that because you feel like that's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's
a lot of money. So one trick that's very important, and even before you gotta have that mindset. Let's say if someone needs like $6,000, $7,000 a month to pay their bills, right? What you want to do? You want to double that to $14,000. Double that, right? And guess what you have to say? Don't say, if only I can make $14,000. You say, man, $14,000 is easy to make. $14,000 is not a lot of money. Start saying that it's not a lot of money. I only need $14,000. And guess what that does? It changes your mindset. So guess what? Something that you saw was so high, guess what happens? All of a sudden, you're bigger. The bar it just changes your mindset.
Yeah, that's the bar for sure. I love how you just jumped into, all right, these are the tips, and this is about the credit report. But at the end of the day, you're challenging us today to think about, what does my relationship, like literally, you're talking and I'm thinking, what does my relationship with money look like?
Yeah. Absolutely.
How do I perceive money? Is it my friend?
It makes a huge difference. Right. 5 tips to raise your credit score. You have to know your score. Don't miss a payment, right? Catch up with overdue accounts. Keep a low balance in your credit report, and don't apply for credit often. Those are 5 kind of summarized couple of things that we talked about, right? Which is so important. Now, I want you to think about middle income mindset. right?
Yes,
A
please.
middle income mindset, their goal, right? Their purpose of money is to pay bills so they can have good credit, so they can go borrow things that they can't really afford with the money that they make. And they can keep paying it, right? That's a middle income mindset.
Yeah, that's half the
Right?
population.
I want to pay my bills, right? So I can keep a good credit score, so I can buy things that I can't really afford anyway, right? And so that's their mindset. So their whole purpose, I have to keep my good credit score. I have to keep my good credit. So I can go buy a house. I can buy the car that I want. I can, right? All these different things. So that's they kind of stuck in that cycle, right? And I might be stepping on some toes, maybe a little bit, but it's just a reality. See, one thing I've learned. Let's look at the third mindset, which is rich people, wealthy people. Wealthy people, the only purpose of money is one thing only, is to make more money.
That's the mindset.
The only purpose of money is to make more money. And why are you saying that? Because let me share some with you. Why is the purpose of a car? The purpose of a car is not to put gas in it. The purpose of a car is to go somewhere, and gas is the fuel that's going to help you get there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And just like, what's the purpose of a company? The purpose of a company is not to make money. The purpose of a company is to provide a service, provide a product, provide something good to the community, to the world out there. And money is what they're using to provide that service. So wealthy people only use money to what? To make more money. Soon as they get money, okay, they're not gonna know. They have a real payday. I have this money. How do I make it more money? And they have a deeper purpose out there, and because they never run out of money. So if you have someone has a rich mindset, if you take all their money away, they'll get it back just like that.
Wow. Yeah.
They'll get it back just like that, because they only see, like, for example, credit. See, people that are wealthy, their purpose of credit is to what? Is to make money. Why do they need to have good credit? Why they want to have why? Because they can use that to what? Fund their business, to what? Make more money. Versus I keep my credit just to buy a car, just to buy this car. Oh my gosh, to get this house, right? So they see credit, have good credit. Man, I need to have good credit. My business need to have good credit. So I can fund my business, make more money. So because of that, they have a different mindset, and that makes a huge difference how we see things. And until we change that, until we adjust, and it's not easy. It's not easy to adjust because we have this conditioning for years, but we have to put ourselves in an environment where someone's going to help us change that mindset. We have to challenge that mindset, challenge that thinking, and that's going to make a huge difference in the long run.
And that environment is right here in the Army Empire podcast. That environment, we're being challenged here. Drop some fire emojis if this is firing you up and you're like, okay, I really have to put, this into practice. I can't just listen to this stuff. I have to retain it, and I need to apply it. I need to do it. This is really excellent stuff. We're going to go into Q&A. So if anybody has any questions, as Bernard is chatting here with us, go ahead and share whatever questions that you might have regarding what we mentioned here. It's wild. It's wild. And we started with these mistakes to avoid, which was not valuing your credit, maxing out the credit cards. If you have any questions regarding how to monitor your credit report, or your credit score, I should say, or how to know where your interest rates are, all those things. We want to answer the questions. Here we go. We got some fire emojis. Yes, definitely have to put this into practice.
Absolutely.
So true. Really good stuff.
It makes a huge difference. Listen, and we all battle with that. And even my money, I'm always fighting my money. I'm always finding ways to improve it all the time. But no, you have to think bigger. You have to start thinking differently, because I'm always bound. The keys you have to battle. Don't think as a status quo. Don't think you can't change that. But we'll never be able to change our situation until we change our mindset. until we change our relationship when it comes to money. So guess what happens if you don't change that, when opportunities are gonna come by you and you're not gonna be able to recognize it, or you're gonna ignore them. But if you're looking, you're gonna have opportunity that's gonna help you change your life. But you're so many times, well, listen, come work with me, I'll help you make. And like, oh, I can't. But they're living paycheck to paycheck, they're struggling, but because it's like how their relation with money makes a huge difference. A lot of people have a dysfunctional relationship when it comes to money, and that's not good. I learned something very powerful. The gravity for poverty is very, 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 very strong.
Yeah.
And you have to fight it. We have to fight the gravity for poverty. And we have to be able to fight it every single day, change the mindset so we can eventually get ourselves in a better position. Challenge status quo. Challenge it. Don't accept it as it is. Challenge the way we see money. And that's going to make a huge difference in the long run.
Yeah. So good. Lots of great information regarding like the 30% rule that you mentioned, to not have the balance go under a certain amount, which is wild.
Yes, it makes a huge difference. Absolutely.
So good.
Yes.
Great. I don't know if we have any questions. I don't think we do tonight. No questions tonight. Everybody's just throwing the fire emojis. Yep. Even if you're watching the replay, guys, even if you're
absolutely, it's
not Tuesday night, it's Thursday night or Saturday, and you're watching this right now, comment below, because we will see the comments, and Coach
I'll be able to answer it. At the same time, my email's right there. So if someone has a question and maybe they don't feel comfortable asking up in a public forum, so this is my email right there. So send me email, ask me a question, I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Yeah. So let's close with this question. These mindsets come from how we were raised, perhaps?
Absolutely. It comes from how we were raised and our environment. Our environment determines everything. But we have to challenge why. It's a question we have to challenge. Why do I think the way I think? Is it serving me for the good, or for it's not helping? You have to change your thinking. Is it helping you or is it hurting you? If not, then you have to challenge that. But I know for a fact, if you see money as a way to pay bills, if you're saying, and sometimes we say, well, if you say, man, I need to make money, I got to pay bills. I got bills to pay. I got to make money. And guess what's going to happen? You subconsciously, you're only going to make enough to pay your bills.
Yeah.
You're only going to make enough to pay your bills, and you're not going to get ahead. And because that's how you see money. That's your relationship with money. So you have to challenge that.
Yeah. Well, you've totally challenged our thinking today. Sunshine Mel says you've challenged our thinking today, and this is such great material that you've given us today, just like you do every single Tuesday night when we're here. Watch the other episodes, watch the replay. I know, like I mentioned to start, that there are some folks that are still catching up to the episodes because they want to watch them all one by one, and taking notes is key. And having conversations with your spouse or with someone in your family about these money issues is awesome.
Absolutely. And we're going to go over next week. We talk about paying yourself first. Pay yourself first. We're going to talk a couple tips on that, the mindset that's going to help us kind of adjust. Instead of having transfer day, you have actually pay day where you're paying yourself first.
Okay, I'm not mad at that. That's going to be really good. Pay yourself first. Pay yourself first, coming up next week. So like we mentioned, stay connected. You can email Bernard. His email is right there under his name. Contact him, have a one-on-one with him, ask him questions, sit down with him, and he'll help you assess any of your information. Yes, I know, Lori, we needed this. We needed this tonight. This was really good regarding our credit scores and just our mindset and our relationship with money. Don't let the relationship be a dysfunctional one.
Absolutely. It makes a huge difference.
All right, Bernard. Thank you so much for the great info.
Thanks so much, guys. Thank you.
We will see you next week.
Yes. It's going to be awesome.
Guys. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time.
Thanks for tuning in to the Army Empire podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your friends. Join us next week for another exciting edition. And until then, keep building your empire.